So there's a little bit of a bite to you as a manager that you need to have, especially at a club like Celtic. Just that little bit of like chest puffed out. This is the big thing, right, guys? This is the big thing for me, okay? Is it's not so much necessarily about quality of player. That comes into it. Does Celtic have the same qualities of player that they had even when they almost knocked Bayern Munich out last season in the Champions League? No, right? It's digressed. Absolutely no question on that. But the big thing for me is that when the fear goes, when we've all played, if you played football, if you've coached football, if you've been involved in football, you're a fan, whatever it is, right? When the fear goes, teams know they'll get something against you. They just do. And it's really, really hard to get that. To get that back, you need to go on a 4, 5, 6, kind of 7-game run again and people to be like, oh shit, they're back, right? They're back. But when the fear goes, I've seen it with my own team, Liverpool. I've seen it with Man City probably the last year or two, where teams just don't fear you as much and they start to come at you a little bit. And it's like a psychological, mental thing for the fans, the players, the club to get to grips with of the reality of where you are. And especially Celtic, who have just consistently dominated and dominated and dominated for God, however knows the last many years. Like that shift is just so difficult, right? And the demands at that club we know are what they are. But the fear is gone. Dundee United come out in the second half, and it's the complete opposite. They batter Celtic, and they, if anything, should maybe have more than a couple of goals as well. And Celtic just don't have that resilience at the moment of the phase that they're in to be able to kind of batten down the hatches and get through it without conceding a goal and it going 1-1, and then the pressure starts to mount on you. The fans get frustrated again. You think this is happening again. We're going to lose, and Dundee United get a quick second. And from there, it just felt inevitable. It did feel inevitable. But even when Celtic were doing that in the first half, this is my point about the fear, I still thought it's only 1-0. Dundee United are still in this. Dundee United are still in this. And this is the problem they're going to have to overcome. And this is the problem that Nancy is going to have to overcome. You know, his interview after the game, I watched it, about 8 minutes long. And he was quite like one-toned and one-dimensional. And he's talking about, you know, the coaching side of things, about how he feels as if they are where they are and that they're getting there and they're working and they're close, and the first half was really good, and bar 3 minutes, they win the game. And yeah, he's not wrong, right? He's not wrong. But the reporter asked him a really good question at the end about, like, the fans not singing your name and stuff like that, and singing, I think, Martin O'Neill's name at the end. You know, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like they have your backing? And his body language, Nancy's body language completely changed. He kind of stepped forward and he upped his tone and he upped his tempo of talking. And I thought, right, so there's a little bit of a bite to you as a manager that you need to have, especially at a club like Celtic. Just that little bit of like chest puffed out. And look, I know it's English probably a second language and everything like that, but I thought, oh, okay, there's a little bit in you, but that obviously poked him a little bit and that frustrated him a little bit. Look, you don't have the time. I'm not going to go over this again massively, but you just, like, I get it as a coach, like, you're coming in and you want to instill your ideas and your philosophy and stuff. And there's a lot of talk about, like, he needs to get his players. It needs to be his players. And we say this all the time about managers coming in at clubs and stuff like that. And I get it. Of course they do, right? You need to analyze the side. You're in a position that you're in because some of the guys there probably aren't good enough. But the best do it and get the most out of what they've got and still can almost overachieve with those players. And then through winning, right, with those players and overachieving, you earn the right through the fans, through the board and everything to get your back in, to be like, right, I want these guys out and I want these guys in. And then it takes time, window after window. But you just don't get it at Celtic, and you certainly don't get it in the position that Celtic have been, where they've been success, to the point, as I said earlier, about almost knocking Bayern Munich out the Champions League last season. But to get from that point to where they are now, it's just been a very, very quick downward spiral. And you're just not going to get time to implement style, mate. You're just not, and he needs to realize that right away. And I always say this, guys, like, you can still do what you want to do, but maybe here and there just do something that's just going to get you a win. And I think that, like, short term, it's that kind of like business planning, right? Life planning. Short term, medium term, long term. Like, the short term is to win. The medium to long term is along the way you embed how you feel the game should be played and how you see the game. The best managers also just adapt to what is in front of them in the game and in the moment, right? Whether that's part of their philosophy or not. And if he's not learnt that now after these 4 defeats, then he's really going to struggle.